Hey everyone, welcome to the RotoGrinders Morning Grind podcast. I'm your host, Stevietpfl. It is Friday, July 12th, 2024. We have a 12-game MLB slate to talk about here on today's podcast. Joined today by my good buddy, Will Priester, ChiefJustice06. Chief, what's happening, my friend?
Nothing much, doing good. Hopefully this show goes off without a hitch. Didn't start out with a mute. So I think we're off to a great start here, and here's to a great slate for Friday. Really like this slate, and so hopefully that translates into some really good nuggets and information that we can give our listeners to help them be incredibly successful this to close out the actual work week for most. For us DFSers, it will carry into the weekend. But I'm hoping that at least for this Friday slate, man, we can really pile it on and help these people do really well.
I don't know why, but I'm yawning so much right now. So I apologize ahead of time if I don't get a mute in. But yeah, doing the best I can with that. We have a lot of baseball to talk about here. 12 games Friday. So we're going to jump right in. I see a lot of people talking about Thursday slate. What's up, YouTube? Hope everyone's having a great Thursday.
That steal situation got me too. That's what a lot of people are talking about. It got me, man.
Yeah, I had some steal bets that obviously missed because of him getting pulled early, which kind of hurt.
Last thing, Steven, then we can hop in this thing. So D Johnson says, no mute today and hopefully no bad connection, Will. Listen, I have officially switched internet services, okay? I wasn't going to say anything. I was just going to try to let the show ride, and we just try to cruise through this thing. Don't jinx this, Mr. Johnson. But I have officially switched internet service, and so I am anticipating that this show is going to go off without a hitch today. So hopefully no weird storms come through and I lose power or something, but I think we're going to be good.
Johnson, could you imagine if it was Jackson? Sorry, Miss Jackson. All right, New York at Baltimore is where we get started. 9 total in this game. Yankees are 142 favorite. We got Garrett Cole, Cade Povich pitching against each other here. And any interest here in Garrett Cole?
Interestingly enough, Stevie, I don't know about Cole, man. Last start against Boston, a little bit rough coming back. By a little bit rough, I mean, got touched up a little bit, gave up some hits. The K's were there, which was very encouraging. Let me say this. The K's were there. So I just don't know if I want to do it this start against Baltimore at 9,200. So I think I'm going to pass Stevie and let him kind of get a few more starts under him. Once again, I was very encouraged to see the strikeouts, but I still think him giving up these runs could be an issue. So I'm going to let him go another start. I need to get him against like an Oakland, an Angels, like something like that probably before I hit the button.
Yeah. I don't know if he's 100% yet. I feel like
I don't think so.
There's always upside with Garrett Cole at 9,200. There are strikeouts in this lineup. He's averaged 95 miles an hour on his fastball so far. I always like to look at like fastball numbers. That's down. Like 2023 averaged around 96.6, 0.7 in that range. When Garrett Cole dominated in 2022, his fastball was averaging almost 98 miles an hour. That was one of the best seasons he's had, and that's where he had a ton of strikeout success as well. So I worry about the velo being down. He's been getting hit hard from both sides of the plate. The strikeouts have been up there against lefties, but really there's like negative regression coming to like some of his strikeout numbers because of his whiff rate being down so much. So tough matchup against Baltimore. He's already faced them once. Like his first start back was against this team about a month ago, a little less than a month ago. So MME, I think you have him in your player pool. Single entry, probably not getting to Garrett Cole today. Povich on the other side here. It's a lefty against the Yankees. Any interest here in Povich?
Negative. I won't be playing any Povich either, Stevie. I just think, he's 5,900, and I get it, but I don't think this is the right spot against the Yankees. Big old X button.
Yeah, I mean, so far, very young career, but just really not generating any swings and misses. 14.4% strikeout rate, swinging strike rate 7.5%, giving up 13% barrels. Good ballpark, technically, but you don't want to do that against the Yankees lineup. They have a lot of power in this lineup. So, I mean, if you can't throw it by this Yankees team, they're a tough team to face. So, I'm out on Povich. Any interest here in the Yankees bets?
Yeah, absolutely, man. I think, once again, the Yankees up top this has been a very top-heavy offense, Stevie, in terms of salaries. And then as you get to the bottom of this lineup, it's continually gotten cheaper now. There have been some extra strikeouts here, like with a guy like Trent Grisham in the lineup also. But generally speaking, I'm not afraid of Povich. So I like the fact that if you want to play Judge, you can, because most of this lineup outside of him and Soto, very cheap. I mean, even Gleyber Torres, who's had his own issues this season, he's 3,500. If you want to get him in, Voltage 42. But I mean, like I said, this lineup, Stevie, on the back end is just very cheap, and that's why I think the Yankees against Povich are really a fine stack today in Baltimore.
Yeah, I mean, overall, for me, I don't know if I full stack them, but I think that attacking power righties in this spot, like any of the Yankees power righties, and like Juan Soto lefty, I think is fine as well. He has plenty of bat skills from both sides of the plate, so he just walks a lot against left-handed pitchers. I've noticed that with him
so much, Stevie.
Yeah. So
somebody pulled up a stat the other day, like he literally, if there's like 100 and I don't know, 82 games, he's going to walk like 130 to 140 times. It's like some absurd number. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Any interest here in the Baltimore bats against Cole?
I do have some interest, Stevie. And I think, now I could be wrong, Baltimore's expensive. I don't think they're going to get a whole lot of ownership today against Cole, even though Cole has come out of the gates not as strong. And obviously, I think he still has to work himself into major league rhythm and so forth and so on. I think Baltimore is really expensive on this slate. And I think they're not going to get any ownership against Cole. And I think they could touch him up here. So I like Baltimore as a really expensive, overpriced stack for the slate, but kind of paying up to be different, if you will.
Yeah, Baltimore is a stack or fade spot for me. Definitely exposure to them because Cole has been getting hit hard, and like this team has a huge ceiling. So if you get Cole out in the third or fourth inning, you're not getting to the good part of the Yankees bullpen. So very interested in stacking Baltimore, but it's stack or fade. It's not playing one-offs here. It's stack or fade. We got Kansas City at Boston, 9 total in this game. It's a pick'em game, which I thought was kind of odd. Cole Reagans and Cooper Criswell facing off against each other. Any interest here in Cole Reagans?
Stevie, my goodness. Reagans comes in cheap yet again. He only got $100, excuse me, Steve, not $100, $300 bump from Coors. Prior to that Coors bump, Stevie, we had him in the 10K and 9K range. He hasn't been this cheap prior to the Coors game since May. May 6th was the last time we got him in the 8K range, Stevie. And it's been 9K and up since that point. And he's 8,500 against Boston. And we've seen all season that Boston Achilles heel in terms of pitching, Stevie, has been lefties. Now, I understand that Reagans has been more dominant to the right side of the plate. So I get it, right? I get it. But I still think the strikeouts are going to be here against this Boston team. I think his lack of strikeouts to the left side of the plate or lower strikeout rate to the left side of the plate isn't going to matter as much in this matchup, being that most of Boston's best hitters, outside of Tyler O'Neill, of course, are lefty. So I think it's a good spot for him. I think he could have a really, really nice performance here.
Yeah, I mean, they have power against left-handed pitching for sure. O'Neill, Refsnyder, Wong, Gomez, or not Gomez, Gonzalez. Westbrook has been hitting lefties really well. But they also have a lot of strikeouts against left-handed pitching. They're going to have 6, potentially 7 right-handed or bats in this lineup that have a strikeout rate over 25% against left-handed pitching. So I think Cole Reagans is still a very good pitcher. I think he has a high ceiling. He's going to get touched up from time to time, but I think this is an excellent spot to play Cole Reagans at this price point. Any interest here in Criswell on the other side?
Nah, I'm not playing Cooper Criswell today.
Kiss, stop yawning. It's my eyes are burning, so I had to put eye drops in my eyes, and then I can't stop yawning, so like my eyes won't stop watering.
See, I
so
took
much
my
fun.
glasses off, Stevie, but you have encouraged me to put them back on because my
eyes are
amazing.
killing me.
Yeah,
I have been sitting at the computer all day today. I had an early show. I had a NASCAR podcast. I had to write up all my NASCAR bets. I've been working on a truck article, and I started to work on this baseball slate. So, like, I've been sitting at the computer all day, and my eyes are, like, starting to finally feel it, and, like, my body is feeling it. But, yeah. I'll probably not play Criswell here either. I think we have some cheap options, and I think this is a spot I will stay away from him. He really just hasn't shown a huge ceiling. He's a 22% K rate guy. I will say, like, Kansas City, when they struggle, it's rough. It's a rough scene.
Yeah.
Kansas City bats. Any interest here in Kansas City?
Yeah, I do have some interest, Stevie. I'm just, like you said, I'm hoping they show up. But they have been the opposite of the Toronto Blue Jays for me, Stevie. When I typically get on the Kansas City train, they typically come through for me. And the prices have come down a little bit here on some of these guys. So, like in the outfield, Velasquez, none of these guys over 4K. You're getting very cheap prices on them. Obviously, Bobby Witt Jr. at 6,300 is always in play. But, you got Garcia as well at 4,500. Vinny P at 45 also, and Sal Pal down to 4,700 when we were paying in the 5K range for him earlier this season. So I really like this spot for them, and I'm perfectly fine continuing to load up on Kansas City in this spot against Cooper Criswell.
Yeah, I don't mind Kansas City in this spot. They're on the road. I think that Criswell is hittable. So I don't mind it. I will say, like, he's done a good job limiting lefty power. So I'd prefer like Perez and Witt in this spot, but I don't think you can get away from the lefties if you're going to stack Kansas City.
Yeah.
Any interest here in the Boston side?
Not really. I think I'm going to fade Boston today. And then my good buddy Top Picks is saying Skeens is 1 of 1. He's 1 of 2, buddy. Spencer Strider was Skeens before he got hurt. But who's counting? At any rate, I'm going to fade Boston today against Reagans.
Chat's giving me a hard time right now, Will. They're telling me I'm getting old. I am getting old. I said this in YouTube chat, but my FanDuel account is older than my daughter. So, I mean, I've been doing this a while. Long time. 2009 that's when my FanDuel account was made. 2009. I've been around.
Yeah.
Miami at Cincinnati. 9.5 total in this game. Reds a 162 favorite. Chirinos against Spears. Any interest here in Chirinos?
No.
Yeah, I've seen some interesting stuff on Chirinos on how, like, when he was with Tampa last year, he was showing the ball, and you could really pick up like his arm and the ball really early in his delivery, and Miami has shifted and are working with that, but he's still not good. I mean, I just wanted to like point out, like, he was getting hit so hard last year because of some mechanical issues. They're working on that. He's not getting like blown up, but he's still not pitching well enough for us to play him in this spot, in my opinion. So
If they were in
Shout out,
Miami, I might have been a little bit closer. But Cincinnati's been hitting the ball right now, man. I can't do it.
nah, not playing him. Any interest in Spears on the other side?
So this is a tricky one for me today, Stevie, to be honest, because I feel like with the leash that they've given him at 7K, I think that's reasonable against Miami. He's seen the Cubs, he's seen Pittsburgh, he's seen Detroit at home. He's seen some teams at home, Stevie, and with the longer leash, he's had fairly reasonable games here. I think he can get 15 to 20 fantasy points. I think 20 is the ceiling. I would settle for about 16. I think I'm going to play him, Stevie, to have some cheap exposure, because if I want to play Baltimore, I'm going to need some cheap pitching in my pool. And he's not going to be the only one, but I definitely think he's reasonable enough against a Miami team that it's just not good right now. So I'm perfectly fine with playing him today at 7K.
So 3 things, right? First thing, does he throw 90 pitches? Check. Second thing, is he right-handed? Check. Third thing, is he facing the Marlins? Check. I mean,
yeah,
there's 3 things you look at when you're looking at pitchers against Miami. Do they throw a lot of pitches, and are they, either-handed, really? This team is just struggling. They only have 2 or 3 guys with WOBAs over 300. I don't think they have one hitter with a ISO over 200 against right-handed pitching this season. They're striking out. They're not walking. If there was ever a spot for Spears to pitch well, it's definitely this spot. So 7K, definitely in the player pool today as far as cheaper end pitching. So I couldn't agree with you more. Miami Bats, any interest here in the Miami Bats?
I'm not against the Jazz Chisholm one-off right now. Like, if he's going to keep staying priced in this low 4K range, Stevie, I do think he has some upside. Like, if you want a one-off Jazz, fine. If you want a one-off, maybe Jesus Sanchez, fine. I'm not going to argue with you, because I do understand the value and the appeal of the Great American Small Park. But generally speaking, Stevie, I'm not playing the Miami Marlins. Like, 1 or 2 one-offs, and that's it.
Yeah, he's really struggled with left-handed power bats, and they just don't have any left-handed power bats. So I think Jazz, he's been running. We keep talking about it. I'm sure it's a broken record by now, but he's running more. He has upside.
Yeah.
So I'm interested in him. You mentioned Sanchez. I don't hate that idea. I wouldn't stack this Miami Marlins team. If anything, I would play like a 3-man Miami stack here. It's a young pitcher that's still not, like, he's a below average strikeout pitcher. He's 18%. Really gets hit hard by lefties, but he's done an excellent job against righties, keeping the ball in the ballpark. So he doesn't have that out pitch against lefties yet, and that's something he's going to need to develop if he's going to be a starter long term. Reds, one of my top stacks on the slate today is Cincinnati. They have been crushing the baseball, and I don't think they're going to stop here. They've been so excited to get back home this week. They haven't stopped hitting since Monday, and I don't see them stopping here.
Stevie, I looked at it today. I think Stevenson hit 2 home runs.
He did.
Someone.
Hey, that was me and Squirrel's home run call on Crunch Time today with Stevenson.
Yeah, and I did play him. Espinal, I think, hit 2 home runs. It was just bombs away for this team. And other guys were just churning out runs. I think Steer just had a big day. I don't think he didn't hit any home runs, but he just had a big day at the plate. And I think this team continues with another big day at the plate, Stevie. They're getting Yanni Chirino here, but like I said, we're not afraid of Yanni. I just think you just need to be stacking Cincinnati. I think it's just yet another good spot for them. And Ellie hadn't had a big game in 2 games, so perhaps the big game comes again tonight on a big Friday.
Yep, absolutely love that he got the day off on Thursday. Needed it. Before we get into the Rockies Mets, I just posted in the YouTube chat. We have a morning grind game. Winner of the morning grind game can pick a 3-day premium pass or 3-day NASCAR pass. We're at Pocono this weekend. Pocono has been a very, 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 very profitable racetrack for me. So hopefully we can keep that going this weekend. Colorado at New York facing the Mets. 9 total in this game. Mets a 235 favorite. We have Tanner Gordon against Sean Manaea in this one. Tanner Gordon, not too awful first time out at home. What are your thoughts here on Gordon?
Not going to do it against the Mets. Look, man, the Mets are one of these weird teams that I'm going to call them Toronto 2.0. When I play them, they don't do anything. But when I fade them, boy, they just keep hitting the ball. They're at home. It's getting a little bit warmer. Wind has started to blow out just a little bit there at Citi Field, Stevie. And we have seen them just kind of put up some nice performances here recently. I'm going to fade Tanner Gordon. I think the Mets offense is better than his pitching today. And so he's going to stay on the shelf.
Yeah, no Tanner Gordon for me today. Great ballpark bump for him. Going from Coors to Citi Field. Sean Manaea is 8,600. I wrote him down on my list. I'm kind of on the fence price wise, but I love the matchup, man. The Rockies have just been striking out at such a huge clip. Manaea hasn't given up a home run in 4 straight starts. He gets a fantastic spot. I think we just pay the price and play him.
Yeah, I think so too, Stevie. And just to kind of submit this fact, and I know these two pitchers aren't the same, but I saw them when I'm talking about getting mowed down, Stevie. Hunter Green had 6 strikeouts in 2 innings today. For those that don't know what that means every out was a strikeout. I was like, this is about to get ugly.
He struck out the 7th guy too. He started 7 for 7 and then walked the guy, and then they got him out on a stolen base attempt, and then he got a fly out. But Hunter Green over 7.5 strikeouts was the easiest bet.
Yeah. And I'm saying that to say Sean Manaea is not Hunter Green, but he should still have a really nice day. And at 8,600, Stevie, I think Manaea could get the 25 fantasy points today. If things break the right way for him, and I feel like they really should, I think he could go 6 innings, get 6 or 7 strikeouts, and the Mets should win this game. And if he can get the win, I think he can get the 25, Stevie. I really like him today. I think he's a touch too expensive. I think he should be 8,200, but I'm okay because of the matchup with the Rockies.
I'm in here for sure. Any Rockies bats stand out to you here?
No, I don't need to reach for the Rockies today. They're not in the best ballpark in the world. If they were in Cincinnati, I'd feel totally differently. I feel like in that ballpark, having a 1-off or 2 from Miami is probably a good idea. But I don't feel the need to have to play anyone from Colorado today.
Yeah, I mean, if anybody, I think Doyle, Tovar or Toglia, or I guess Brendan Rodgers is still really cheap, but I'm not going out of my way to play these guys today.
Yeah.
Any interest in the Mets against Gordon?
I have slight interest, Stevie. Lindor's been really good. Nemo's been really good. I mean, hey, JD Martinez has been really good down the stretch here, but they're very expensive. I think the Mets are. I don't think I go full 5 on the Mets, because I trust the upside of a Baltimore more than I trust the upside of the Mets, Stevie. But I think 3 to 4 mans here against this pitcher is going to be just fine.
Yeah, different ballpark. This game was in Coors. I think we're stacking the Mets fully. I don't mind 1 to 3 Mets on this slate.
Yep.
Pittsburgh at Chicago taking on the White Sox. No total in this game. It sounds like it'd be Marco Gonzalez coming back from the IL, but it hasn't been officially announced yet. So we'll wait and see on that. And Garrett Crochet pitching for the White Sox. If it is Marco Gonzalez, his last rehab start 5 days ago today, he threw 62 pitches, did not pitch great. He hasn't been pitching great. I think like even against the White Sox, if Marco Gonzalez pitches here, I just don't see myself using him. He is cheap, but I don't see myself using him.
Nah. And he's a guy that just never had enough strikeout upside anyways. Like on a general basis, like every pitcher is going to have one of those games, but like from a game-to-game basis, he's more like a 3 to 4 strikeout guy, Stevie, than like a 5 to 6 strikeout guy. So I'm not playing him today at all.
Yeah, I mean, he is a 15% strikeout rate since the start of last year, 15.7 since the start of last year.
To KBO.
Yeah. I mean, no interest for me here. I do have a ton of interest in Garrett Crochet on the other side of this game, though. Like, I just play him every start because of his strikeout ability. It's so good that there's just no reason not to keep playing this guy. He got hit up pretty hard last time out against Miami, and I know hopefully that keeps his ownership down a little bit because I know a lot of people probably played him in that spot, but I'm definitely playing Crochet in this one.
Yeah, I mean, Stevie, everybody's going to have one, right? We looked at Chris Sale. His most recent one was that Oakland game. Like, no pitcher's going through the season and just, not going to give up one of those games.
Oh, they'll have 3 to 5 of them, even as an elite pitcher.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. My looming point here is, there's no reason to be not considering Garrett Crochet at 10-3. He's earned the right to be 10-3. We've seen the strikeouts, even against Houston and the Dodgers, Stevie, who are two fairly good teams and fairly low strikeout teams overall. 8 Ks against Houston, which I think is really good. 6 Ks against the Dodgers, and was able to overcome giving up some runs. So I'm all in on, not when I say all in, I'm saying all aboard the Crochet train today against Pittsburgh. I think he needs to have strong consideration.
Any interest in the Pittsburgh Bats?
No.
Yeah, nothing.
And Brian Reynolds has been hot, but I can't do it.
Yeah, I can't do it either. What are your thoughts here on the White Sox?
I think you can play these big bats, Stevie. I've never really been a huge believer in Marco Gonzalez unless he's facing just like bottom of the barrel teams here. So you've got Jimenez, you got Pham, you got Robert. I don't even mind Vaughn in this spot at 3,800. Like I think there could be some interesting scores here. The White Sox are at home, a little bit better ballpark than Pittsburgh here. So I'm fine with playing some mini White Sox stats against Marco Gonzalez, man, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, Pham, Vaughn, Robert, Jimenez, Sosa, all can hit left-handed pitching. Like it's not like Marco Gonzalez is going to go out there and throw the ball by anybody. So yeah, I mean, I'm very interested in probably more mini stacks for Chicago than full stacks, but yeah, I mean, I'm interested for sure.
Yeah.
Texas at Houston always gets me every time. Every time. We got an 8.5 total here. Houston, a 164 favor. Andrew Heaney, Hunter Brown. Any interest here in Andrew Heaney?
Let me just say, Stevie, Heaney has been much better recently. I think with the performances we're seeing, this is the Andrew Heaney that we wanted to kind of see down the stretch every time we play him. I can't do it against Houston. I think the strikeouts are too low. But I think if you're going to play another cheap pitcher, and this is what I was talking about, I think if you absolutely want to try to get another cheap pitcher, Stevie, I think he's your guy. But like, just know going in that this could get rough. But I think he's your next cheap pitcher behind Spears if you need another guy. And that's why I think he's in play today, even against Houston. I don't want to play him. I think the strikeouts are too low. But at 7,400, Stevie, I think it's him and Spears today. I don't really see any other cheap options that I feel remotely comfortable with playing.
Yeah, I mean, Astros are such a low strikeout team that it's really hard for me to get excited here about playing Andrew Heaney, even with how well he's been pitching recently. So, I mean, that's the biggest downside for me is just the Astros strikeouts. Like, even does it really matter like what the lineup has looked like? They still just don't really strike out a lot. So that's the downside is the strikeouts. Is he playable? I mean, sure, but I think I'll pass on a 20 entry max build, 150, sure. Any interest here in Hunter Brown on the other side?
I feel like Brown is probably, let's call it the most tricky spot on the slate, Stevie, because he's got enough upside to help you win a tournament. It's still one of those tricky spots facing Texas, who's just starting to get better and better. And at 8,200, I think with what he's done over the course of the season, I think that's the right price. But if I had to choose between him and Heaney today, I think I take the discount and go with Heaney, man. I think they're both in equally rough spots, and I'd just rather take the discount, if that makes any sense. I think Hunter Brown's better overall. I think Heaney might just be slightly better for me today because of the price savings. And if they're both going to get their faces punched in at some point, I'd rather at least have a fighting chance to get one extra bat in my lineup.
Yeah, two really tough matchups for both of these pitchers. Hunter Brown had been pitching really well and then just got absolutely hammered last time out against Minnesota. They still let him keep going. They let him throw 105 pitches. He wasn't pitching good, but they showed us the leash, right? They showed us that they're willing to let this guy go. I mean, he's had some really good matchups recently, and that has obviously helped him kind of get back on track more than anything else. But I mean, even if we look at his recent like history and data, it's not like he's going out and like whiffing a lot more hitters, missing more bats. I mean, I really think it just came down to like having better matchups. His BABIP was down a lot against lefties, so I think overall, for me, Hunter Brown's another guy that I hope gets some ownership, and I can be underweight on him. I think that we're going to see some runs scored in this game more than anything else. What are your thoughts here on the Texas bats?
Yeah, I think I'm in on Texas, man. We keep talking about Corey Seager. He's priced back up now, Stevie, to 5,200. He had been in that kind of basically 5K range and just kind of sitting or sitting still at 5K. We've seen a couple nice performances from him out of the past 5 games, 2 really big ones. So I think he's squarely in play. You've got Adolis Garcia continuing to his price continuing to increase. Simeon's price is coming back up. So my larger point is I'm fine with Texas here. I'm with you. I think they're going to be runs scored in this game, and so I'm in. I'm in on Texas stack. Not my favorite. I think I like Baltimore more than Texas for what it's worth, but like I'm still in on Texas.
Did you see Ron Washington in the Angels series with Corey Seager? I think it was on Tuesday. He's like, I'm not pitching to this guy. He intentionally walked him twice, and one of the times they intentionally walked him, the count was like 1-2. Like he had 2 strikes on him. And they're like, put him on first. It was like a wild pitch or something. I can't remember exactly what happened, but I'm pretty sure it was like a wild pitch. And whoever was on first base advanced to second base, and they instantly walked Corey Seager. It was hilarious. So, that's what you could do, right? But yeah, I've been stacking Texas a lot lately. And in a 20-inch max build, I'll definitely have exposure to Texas stacks here. The Houston side, I think I'm more likely to stack the Texas side of this game because I know Hunter Brown can really struggle. Heaney can get really wild. So, like, Diaz, Bregman, Pena are all still in the low 4Ks. If Alvarez is out of the lineup again, that makes the stack cheaper. I'd have more interest if Alvarez sits in this game.
Yeah, for sure. And that's the crazy thing about Houston. Like, obviously, you lose a bat like Alvarez, it's probably going to hurt some of your raw upside, Stevie. But this team, the low strikeouts just keep me coming back for more, Stevie. And I think that's how you have to approach it. I mean, one night I even played Mauricio Dubon. He got me double-digit points. Like, I think they're just such a low strikeout team that you have to consider them on this slate. Once again, I will have some Heaney because of the price and the recent form. But I think Houston, these low strikeouts, like they're in play. They're just in play.
I don't think I've played Dubon this year.
Well, he was like a last
maybe
season. He fit my 3-man. So I ended up with like I think he was batting 8th, and I ended up with like a 1, like an 8-1. It was like a slight wraparound, like an 8-1-2. You get what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
And that's how I ended up on him. But I mean, he came through for me that day.
Fair enough. All right, Washington at Milwaukee, 7.5 total in this game. The Brewers are a 196 favorite. We got Jackson Rutledge against Freddie Peralta. Any interest here in Jackson Rutledge?
No.
Yeah, I mean, we saw him out of the bullpen against the White Sox like 2 months ago. They sent him back down to get him stretched out, but he has been awful in the minors this year. Like, he's been getting hit very, very hard. So I'm with you. Quick no for me as well. The question is, do we have interest in Freddie Peralta against Washington?
Stevie, so I said Hunter Brown was tricky because he's been really good up until that last start. He's been really good, really consistent. Like you said, then with Minnesota, and Texas is just a tough team. Washington has no power at the bottom of this lineup, Stevie, but they're still a tough team because of the low strikeouts. Freddie Peralta has probably been the biggest roller coaster in Major League Baseball from a pitching standpoint. And that's not an exaggeration. At 9,700, Freddie Peralta could come out and put on a performance like he did against the Cubs, or he could come out and put a performance like he did against Cincinnati. Keep in mind, Cincinnati has been good, but the strikeouts should be there, Stevie. And he gave up 10 hits in that game. No, I'm not exaggerating. 10 hits. And he's had this wild compilation of starts. Rough start against Detroit where they ran him up to 94 pitches in 3 1/3 innings. He's just been all over the place. And I don't think this is an easy enough matchup for me, Stevie, at 9,700. Because I said that, I'm going to get punched in the face here. He's probably going to score 30 fantasy points. But I think I'm taking the fade today. He's just all over, too all over the place for me on such a big slate. I don't think I need to risk it. I can just beef up my Ravens exposure, my Crochet exposure. Like, I just play Crochet over him or Ravens. And that's so he's probably going to end up with lower ownerships. And that probably makes him a really good play. But I'm taking the fade.
Hate playing pitchers against Washington because they are so pesky. They don't really strike out. With that said, I like Freddie Peralta a lot today. I am a sucker for a pitcher that I feel like is going to be pitching with a lead. And I've already talked about how I think Rutledge is going to struggle. Freddie Peralta is a really good pitcher. I mean, there's not many pitchers that we have in baseball anymore that consistently have a 30% strikeout rate, 14% swinging strike rate, whiff rate almost 30%. It's not something we see anymore. Like, baseball has changed.
Don't sell me on Peralta. Please stop this.
I'm not trying to sell you. I'm just saying I would play Reagans and Crochet over Peralta in like a single entry max build. Like, those are the two guys that I'd use in a single entry max build. I am definitely going to have more than the field on Peralta in my 20 entry max build. And it's just, again, as a former pitcher, I am a sucker for pitchers pitching with a lead, and I think Milwaukee's going to get to Rutledge here, and Peralta can attack hitters differently if he has a lead. If they're up 3 or 4 runs, he can pitch differently. And yeah, I mean, he's good enough where he could take advantage of a lead. So very interested in Peralta today, even against this team. I have no interest in the Washington bats. I will say, like, I've been playing James Wood. He has some upside, but I think this is a spot I'm going to stay away.
Yeah, I'm with you. It's just not enough power in this lineup for me, so I'm taking the fade on this offense as well.
I should have worn my Brewers hat today. They're one of my favorite stacks on the slate. We have a pitcher that can't get hitters out in AAA. We have a bullpen that has not had a lot of time off over the last 10 days. I like Jackson Rutledge a lot today. Because Mackenzie Gore, he went out in like the 4th, right? Like he was, they got to the bullpen early, on Thursday. I mean, so I love Milwaukee in this spot.
Yeah, I do as well. This is a full stack spot. If I had to, in my opinion, highlight one of the, let's call it one of the non big bats, Stevie, definitely probably going to be fairly closer to the bottom of this lineup here, 3,400. And if we expect him to score runs, I like guys around the bottom of the lineup that can hit Stevie, because it just gives them so many more opportunities to score runs as it comes back around to the top of this lineup. So I did want to mention Frelick. I think he's a really solid play today, and should be in a position to score some runs if they can turn this lineup over.
Yeah, I mean, I would build around Yelich for sure. Like, he'd be my favorite. Him and Adames are like my two. Yeah. Those are my two favorite bats, but I love Garrett Mitchell on the cheap end too. He has a lot of upside with his speed. It really hasn't shown yet. He has a lot of wheels. He's going to start stealing bases when he starts getting on base, and you have an unproven rookie. I think this is a good spot for a guy like Mitchell. So you get some cheap bats in here, but definitely building around Adames and Yelich here for Milwaukee. Chicago Cubs, St. Louis Cardinals, 8.5 total in this game. St. Louis, a 198 favorite. Kyle Hendricks going up against Sonny Gray. Kyle Hendricks left the last start with some back tightness. Was it back tightness, or was it just absolutely getting crushed and like not wanting to pitch anymore? It's been a rough go this year for Kyle Hendricks. Easy fade for me today.
Stevie, we saw this coming 2 and 3 years ago when he just
the wheels have just fallen off.
Yeah,
they're
gone. I mean, it's been coming, and this year he's just getting crushed. Welcome to 2024, buddy. I'm not playing Hendricks any. Like, he gets a huge X button for me.
Yeah, really solid career, Kyle Hendricks. In real life, good pitcher for a long time.
Yeah,
but absolutely awful DFS pitcher right now. The real question is,
he needs to go fishing with our boy from St. Louis.
The real question is, what are we doing with Sonny Gray on the other side of this game?
I think the strikeouts are going to be there today, Stevie. Can he not get crushed? Can he get through fairly clean? And by fairly clean, I mean maybe give up 2 runs instead of 5 and give up 3 or 4 hits instead of like 20. I'm exaggerating, but he's 10-2. I don't think he's a better play than Crochet. But the strikeouts have still been there, and the Cubs will strike out. I'm okay with Sonny Gray, but I don't have him ahead of the other guys for what it's worth.
Can't stop yawning. It's crazy. My eyes are so watery. For me on Sonny Gray is a price thing. Like, I would rank him below Reagan's, Crochet. I would even rank him below like Freddie Peralta. I think I'll have more Sean Manaea. Yes. Yeah, the price. So can Sonny Gray achieve greatness in this spot? Yeah, I can. Can he score over 30? Yeah, sure. Like, he's a 31% K rate guy this year. We've seen some regression lately to his strikeouts, which definitely concerning because his strikeout rate's down, his swinging strike rate's down, his whiff rate's down. Cubs strike out with the best of them. So I don't mind getting some exposure to Gray. I just like some of these other guys more. Not to say that I'm going to play the Cubs a lot. I mean, Bellinger being in the lineup is definitely the power lefty you're worried about. So Sonny Gray is going to get more righties than the Cubs should bat, and that's definitely a huge bump to him. They're probably only going to have 3 or 4 lefties in this lineup. So I like Sonny Gray a lot. Don't get me wrong, and I have zero interest in the Cubs bats.
Same. Let's talk about St. Louis.
Let's talk about him, man. Kyle Hendricks is a guy that I love to stack against this year. His strikeout rate is way down. His WOBA is way up. He gives up a ton of power, ton of hard contact, not generating the ground balls like he has done throughout his career. I love the Cardinals because they're hot or cold. They're an excellent stack because they're either going to go off or they're going to stink. And I think this is a spot they should have some success.
Yeah, Stevie, I'm with you. I think hear what I'm saying, not what I'm not saying, folks. The Cardinals are probably a top 2 stat for me today because of matchup and price. So, like, matchup and price considered together, I think the Cardinals are it. I'm just hoping they are not overowned. It's a big slate, so I'm not expecting them to be overowned. But, Stevie, I mean, we're getting some of these lefties because we know he's been struggling on both sides, but, like, we're getting Gorman at 3,900. We're getting Newt Bar here at 3,800. We're getting Donovan at 3,700. I mean, we're getting pretty much this whole team. Burleson 4,100, and then we've got the guys that they actually spent most of their money on in Arenado and Goldschmidt, 4,300 and 4K respectively. Stevie, I think this is just a great spot for this team against a pitcher that, like you said, the wheels have come off at the end of his career. I mean, man, this team, Stevie, as much as St. Louis has struggled this season, this is like a huge spot for them to just come out and just pound a pitcher. And I think they get the job done, man. I really like St. Louis today. Cheap enough to get the big pitchers in, too, which is another reason why they might get more ownership than I anticipate.
Seattle at LA taking on the Angels. We got Wu going up against Tyler Anderson, 8.5 total. Seattle a slight favorite here at 140. It was a hamstring injury for Brian Wu. He's missed a little over 2 weeks. So I looked and I couldn't see anything as far as like he did it one rehab start. I didn't see more than one. It was like 42 pitches. I worry about a pitch count here for Brian Wu. They're very careful with him anyway. And the fact that he's coming back off the IL, I think I'm going to fade him. I think we have enough pitching today that I can stay away from Brian Wu today.
Yeah, Big X, Stevie, I'm with you. I think what you said at the end cements that fact. They were already handling him with kid gloves, and now he's coming back off another injury or a stint off the IL. I won't touch him with a 10-foot pole.
Well, I'm going to need you to talk me off the ledge on Tyler Anderson today.
Oh, God.
I like him way more than I should.
I think he needs to be cheaper for me.
That's the best part. That is the best part.
Oh, man. All right. So my mind is telling me no. But my body is telling me yes. I can't. The
song references on this show have been fire today. Yeah, listen, chat's telling you to give me tough love. That's fine.
Oh boy.
Don't worry. I'm gonna get my chance to rebuttal here, whatever Will says. And talk everybody on to playing Tyler Anderson and him busting at 7,900 against the Mariners. But I let Will go first because I have my argument. Like, I'm ready for court, sir.
I think the strikeouts will be there despite his low strikeout rate. Despite his low strikeout rate. And I know he's coming off a 40-point game. He's got the leash. It's Seattle. I get it. I think he's too expensive. I can't play him. I can't.
Yeah. He's got to pitch around two guys. Mitch Garver, Cal Riley. Those are the two guys you're worried about. Julio Rodriguez's ISO is like 110 against left-handed pitching.
Jesus.
Everybody in this lineup except for J.P. Crawford, lefty, has a strikeout rate over 20% against left-handed pitching this season. Do I think Tyler Anderson is a great pitcher? Nope, I don't. I think he's a below-average strikeout guy that can go out and do what we need him to do in this spot. I think he limits the damage, gives up a couple hits, maybe a run or two, but I could see him putting up like 25 in this spot. And I think 25 at 7,900 is enough. And you mentioned it, like his leash is massive. This dude, over the last month, he's averaged 99.8 pitches over the last month. The Angels bullpen is the worst bullpen in baseball. When they have the opportunity to let these guys go into the 7th or 8th inning or finish a game, they're going to. Their bullpen stinks. So knowing that, like, if he's at 98 pitches in the 7th, they might let him come back out. Whether it works out or not, the ceiling is there. Like, the ceiling is what we're searching for. I really think Tyler Anderson at 7,900 is playable. Do I love it? No. Am I going to play too much of it? Yeah. I mean, I've done crazier things in my life, so I called what was his name? Harris the other day, Myers or Tobias Myers. I was calling him Tobias Harris, but man, I made my point with him and he absolutely dominated. So maybe I just need to call Tyler Anderson Nick Anderson and he'll pitch just as well. So just got to reference some Orlando Magic guys. But all joking aside, this lineup is missing power. It really is. And they strike out a ton, which helps his upside. His pitch count helps his upside. And, yeah, I mean, I think that he's playable.
Look, man, I played J.P. Sears once this season. It worked out fine. So if I can play Sears, I can for sure play Anderson.
But, like, in this range, Cole Reagan's by far my favorite. Sean Manaea, way more than Anderson. Love those two guys. The ownership is going to be there. Hunter Brown, give me Tyler Anderson. Schwallenbach, give me Tyler Anderson. Andrew Heaney, give me Tyler Anderson. Kyle Harrison, give me Tyler Anderson. Like, outside of those two guys, like, he's the guy that I really like. So, yeah, I mean.
I can't wait to hang out with you at Darlington. I'm gonna have to pocket this conversation. We'll talk about this. I'm kidding, but I get it, bro. I totally get it. Jeez.
Dennis Scott in chat. That's a solid one. I love that. So, all right. Bats here. Any interest in the Seattle Bats?
Guess what? I played Seattle today. I'm just not doing it. Tyler Anderson's not bad enough for me to play Seattle, which is probably answering your question.
Yeah, I mean, it's the two guys I mentioned. It's Mitch Garver. It's Cal Riley. It's two catchers that have home run upside. They have multiple home run upside in this matchup. So those two guys, absolutely love those two guys if you're not playing Anderson. As far as the Angels, Wu is a good pitcher. I just don't think he's going to pitch deep into this game. I just no interest here. Ohapi has been hitting well, but really no interest.
Yep, none.
Toronto at Arizona. 9.5 total. Arizona, a 130 favorite. We got Rodriguez and Nelson. Any interest here in Rodriguez?
He's had two really good starts, Stevie. I'm so sorry. You must have passed the young through the microphone there, through the airwaves.
100% happened. Yep.
One was against Seattle. One was against Houston. I don't think I need him today. I like these other guys better. And so I understand he's had two really good starts, but against Arizona, I'm just going to pass. I don't think he's I don't think he's this good yet.
Yeah, I mean, he's a young pitcher. We're still kind of feeling out what to expect from him. Strikeout stuff looks pretty solid. He really kind of needs like that right-handed out pitch from what I've noticed. I don't hate him in this spot. At 6,700, we don't have like a punt pitcher that I like today. Like not playing Gordon, not playing Povich, not playing Hendricks, not playing Nelson on the other side of this game, not playing Vasquez. So, like, if I'm down here under 7K, he's probably my favorite option. I don't think that's saying much, though. He might be a guy that I leave in my build and, like, max out at, like, 20% and not set a minimum for him. And, like, if I get some, I get some. If I don't, I'm not worried about it type play. I think he's okay. Arizona, they're either really good or really bad. They have been a rough team to figure out this year. So, I don't mind a little Rodriguez. Nelson on the other side, though, I know he's coming off a really good start, but nope.
Not doing it. Giving an Uncle Shay. Not today.
Yeah, 15% Ks, gives up a ton of hard contact. Toronto is not the team you want to be giving up hard contact to right now. They're starting to get it figured out. I hate to say it, but I'm going to play some Blue Jays today. They're my least favorite team in the world to play, but it's hard not to play them right now.
Yeah, and if I'm not mistaken, I think they moved George Springer back to the top of this lineup for a bit.
Yeah, he's been hitting. Yep.
Yeah, so I mean, he's earned it though, Steve. I mean, he's been in fuego here, became in fuego for a good stretch there. Even at 4,100, I'm still in. You've got Vlad at 48, who was hitting the ball well. I like this team overall, Steve. I just think there's enough pieces here for you to really field a solid team. You're not really getting anybody over 5K. So I think it's a quality lineup against a pitcher that's slightly below middle of the road, Stevie. And they're in Arizona. I don't think the roof will be open today. It's Friday. Probably still a little bit too hot for that. But if the roof happens to be open, the ball's going to be flying. I mean, flying big time. And I like this team. All these younger guys there now, Stevie Schneider, and these cheap guys that have kind of come up, some of them due to injury. It's just making this lineup that much more interesting. So I'm in on the Toronto Blue Jays, and hopefully they come through.
Any interest in Arizona on the other side?
Slight, but I think it's more one-off, Steve. I don't think I want to full stack them. But if you want to play Jock Jams, I think he had a home run earlier this week. I'm pretty sure he did when I was watching the game. I'm okay there. Obviously, Christian Walker, if you want to play him, Marte, like they've got the pieces, but I don't want to full stack Arizona today. I think 3 to 4 mans is my max.
Arizona at San Diego, or Atlanta at San Diego. Just kidding. 8.5 total. Atlanta 130 favorite. Spencer Schwallenbach against Randy Vasquez. Any interest here in Schwallenbach?
He's been good. I'm not playing him against San Diego. Strikeouts are too low. Not doing it.
Yeah, I mean, he's not a huge strikeout guy anyway. He's going to throw a lot of strikes in this spot. The pitch count, like the ceiling is capped by the pitch count. They really haven't. And like, there's been outings where he could have gone into the 7th inning multiple times, I feel like, and they're a little bit of kids' gloves here, and Atlanta's dealing with a ton of injuries. So I don't know if you could necessarily blame what they're doing with him, but it's definitely capped his ceiling against a low strikeout team. Even with some injuries, this is still the lowest strikeout team in baseball. I can't do it today. I just don't think the upside is as high as some of the other guys right around this price range. Randy Vasquez, he's coming off a pretty decent start last time out. No chance, man. I know Atlanta's been struggling, but there's just no chance I'm playing this guy against this team.
No way.
Yeah. He has a 14.7% K rate. 8% against lefties this year. Just really struggling to get lefties out. Yeah. Problem is, what lefties are you playing? I mean, we're playing Kelenic, we're playing Olsen. Ozzy Albies is like the guy that I hate playing right now because he's doing this like choke up, slap the ball thing. I hate what he's doing. So I like Kelenic. I like Olsen. A third piece would be Austin Riley, Marcelo Ozuna. They did get Eddie Rosario back. I saw they signed him and brought him back. So he hits really good in the Braves uniform. If you wanted to take some shots on him. I don't even know if he's in the player pool. Is he in the player pool?
Yeah, he's in
is.
there.
3,700. Yeah.
3,700. That's what I'm saying. I'm in on the Braves today, Stevie. I'm not going to fool myself and not take them here. I think this is a really good spot for the Braves in Petco against Vasquez. Sign me up, man. Sign me up. One of my favorite stacks of the day. Still got some pretty nice salary distribution. Both of the catchers are cheap. I'm in. I am in.
Albies has turned into Votto.
Stop it, Derek. Stop it.
I mean, I can't disagree though. I hate hitters that choke up and slap the ball. There's nothing more tilting than that. Bunting, lied, bunting. Hate bunting, but yeah, Ozzy Albies is a good enough hitter where he doesn't need to choke up and slap the ball. Look, Michael said he's up right now. Turn the game on. Watch when he gets 2 strikes on him. He's going to slap the ball. Absolutely hate it. San Diego bats, just because I don't want to play Schwallenbach doesn't mean I necessarily want to play San Diego. It's more of a pitch count thing for me. Big slate, nothing really jumping off the page to me here for San Diego. Ground out. What perfect timing. Ozzy Albies grounds out after I talk about that. Gosh, these guys make me look like a genius sometimes. Any interest in Padres, Will?
I'm probably okay with Cronenworth, but like generally speaking, I'm not loading up on Padres.
We finish out the slate. Minnesota at San Francisco. 7.5 total. Minnesota 142 favorite. Joe Ryan, Kyle Harrison. Any interest here in Joe Ryan?
Oh man, I think should have interest, Stevie, because the strikeout stuff is there, and I think it will be there. He just needs to be a little bit more efficient. I mean, imagine if he could get through 7 innings with 110 pitches, Steve. We'd be feeling fantastic. I think he's in play, though. Like, I still like the spot. I like the ballpark. I think there's enough strikeout upside for him. He just needs to have a little bit more efficiency. But I think Joe Bryant goes in the pool today.
Yeah, he's like that forgotten pitcher, I feel like, on the slate. There's so many good pitchers early that I feel like Joe Ryan might just kind of go overlooked, and I don't have anything negative to say about Joe Ryan in this spot. Any interest in Harrison here?
Nope, going to fade Harrison. I don't think I need him. No need to try to keep stretching for some of this cheap stuff.
Yeah, I mean, he just came back, and he got hit pretty hard by Cleveland. Cleveland's a low strikeout team. Minnesota is a really solid offense, regardless of its lefty or righty. They have been really solid overall this year. So they're getting into like the territory where I feel like you really need to be able to attack them pitcher wise. And I just don't know if this is the guy that's going to attack them. I mean, they have a low strikeout team basically. So no interest. Minnesota bats. Any interest here in Minnesota?
Yeah, man, I'm going to keep playing this team while they continue to be what I consider to be fairly cheap. Like, you got Kepler at 41, you got Buxton 47. You know, Correa's up there because he's just been so good. Hats off to him too. I mean, having a really good season. Willie Castro is the kicker, though, Steve. He's 5,100, a lot more expensive than what I think we want to pay right now. So I think I leave him off today. If I'm playing him in like single entry or 3 entry max, I think I only get Willie Castro if I'm in mass multi-entry. Of course, my boy Jeffers against a lefty today, Stevie. He is on home run watch. I'm just telling you, he's on home run watch today at 4,600. Really like this team.
Any other ballpark guys stack Minnesota here? Like, I full-on stack Minnesota, any other ballpark. I will say Carlos Correa has been great against left-handed pitching this season. Carlos Santana has had a lot more power from the right side of the plate. They got Margot in this lineup as well. Brooks Lee is a switch hitter. This is a tough team. I mean, this is not a team you want to face right now. Any interest in San Francisco?
No.
All right, before we get into the morning grind game, just want to give a shout out to chat. Love having chat. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the RotoGrinders Morning Grind YouTube. Come hang out with us live during the show. We record Sunday through Thursday nights, night before podcast, usually around 10 p.m. Eastern time. Usually starts a few minutes late because I'm never on time. But I wanted to give a shout out to Will in chat. He said, just wanted to give a shout out to Stevie and his guests on the morning grind that my wife and I are heading to Mexico at the end of the month, thanks to suggestions made on the show. We hope you have a fantastic trip. Have a margarita and cheers to us while enjoying a margarita. There's nothing better than getting some time with your wife. I've learned that over the years that got to make that time and make the missus happy. So.
I'm headed on vacation after this podcast.
There you go. I'm on. Listen, this is the last podcast until after the All-Star break, so we'll be gone most of next week. And yeah, I mean, overall, I'm not going on vacation this week. So Pocono this weekend, and then back at the Brickyard Oval the weekend after, and then NASCAR's off for 2 weeks because of the Olympics, because it's NBC. And your boy is going to be taking some time off when NASCAR's off. So I'll get some time with the kids and wife. So I'm excited for that.
Yeah.
All right. Let's play the morning grind game and then we'll get out of here. And then we're out of here for, like I said, I think till next Friday. I'm pretty sure. Will and I will be back next Thursday night. Yeah. The 19th is, so the 18th we'll be recording. All right. Will, morning grind game under 8K to get 6 or more strikeouts. Who do you got today?
I don't know if he quite makes it there, but I'm going to go with Spears against Miami.
Yeah, I like that one. I mean, I got to go to my boy, Tyler Anderson. Just going to get the job done here. Get some strikeouts. Over 8K to score under 15. Who's your bust today?
For my sake, I hope I'm right, and I'm going with Garrett Cole in Baltimore. I don't think he's right yet.
I feel like this is cheating, but give me Brian Wu. It's a pitch count thing for me more than anything else.
For sure.
Hunter Brown is the other one that I really just don't like today. Those are the two that I'm not going to play a lot of. Over 4,000 to hit a home run. Who's going yard today?
Listen, man, I talked about it. I don't care about the ballpark. Give me my boy Jeffers, man. 4,600 today. I love this matchup. He's been crushing lefties. Going with Jeffers at 4,600.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many really good plays today. There's a lot that you could take. I'm going to go to my boy Candelario. He profiles so well against Chirinos today. So give me Candelario to hit a home run. I like his batted ball profile a lot. My model likes it a lot too from what I was looking at earlier. Under 4K to get 2 hits. Who's a cheap bet that you like here?
Give me Donovan against Hendricks. I like these lefties from St. Louis. They're all pretty cheap. I like Donovan today. Give me Donovan, 3,700.
Yeah, you took my guy. I really like the Cardinals too. I'm with you on that. I'm gonna go to Mitchell. I think he's under 4K. I forget. Yeah, he's 3,200. Give me Garrett Mitchell to get 2 hits. Hasn't got a 2-hit game since getting back from the injured list. I assume he starts. Give me Garrett Mitchell to get the job done today. Stack to score 6 or more runs. Who do you got?
I think we got some options. This might be a reach, Stevie. I don't care. Give me Baltimore against Garrett Cole.
Yeah, I'm going to go to Cincinnati. Really like the Reds today. I think they're going to get the job done. So give me the Reds to score 6 or more runs today. And it's been a week where we've played quite a bit of Cincinnati. Any player props or pick 'em plays that you like here today?
Stevie, I think if you can oblige me here, I'm trying to figure out what we think the line is going to be for Cole Reagans. I'm trying to see if I can get my hands on it.
I would guess 6.5.
If it's 6.5, give me over. Give me over 6.5.
I think 6.5 juiced or 7.5 close to even money. I think he comes in at over 6.5 at like minus 160. I think that's what because it's not up anywhere. I just looked.
You think somebody's going to slip and give it to us around minus 140 somewhere? Like
it's going to be juiced. Yeah, it's going to be juiced pretty heavy.
You know what? Give me Reagan's more than 7.5. I'll take that today.
So one of the player props that I'm definitely going to be looking for is Tyler Anderson's outs. We talked about his pitch count being way up. It's a great matchup against Seattle. Again, the Angels bullpen is awful. So I'll be looking at that, and like depending on where Kyle Hendricks outs and strikeouts come in, I'm very interested in that. Just not a lot of props up. Brian Wu is another one.
Please give it 15.5.
Brian Wu is another one that I want to check his outs because I don't think his pitch count's going to be I don't think his leash is very long in this spot. So I'll be checking that stuff. Is there any other bets that you like here? Over-unders, anything like that?
I was trying to check that. I'm not thrilled today, Stevie. I mean, we've got because they're kind of all over the place, but I'm not going to steal your thunder here. But I mean, if you like Tyler Anderson, you're getting the Angels at plus 130. The problem is you're going to need to score some runs, and that's probably the kicker. But if you think
I was going to say, if you like Tyler Anderson, just bet his outs. Don't.
Yeah, that. Honestly, I think the Twins around minus 130 is probably the best one today so far. Twins minus 130. Ryan on the mound. Twins are a much better offense than San Francisco right now, and I think minus 130 is a bit too low. It is at minus 142 of FanDuel. Maybe the other sites catch up to around minus 140 by the morning, but you can get it right now at minus 130 on Bet River or Bally's at around minus 135 on the other mainstream books like Bet365, DraftKings, so forth and so on.
Yeah, so we started the week off. We're up like 7 units by betting a couple 3-pick parlays. There was nothing standing out to me on Thursday's slate when we were doing the podcast, but I got another one, Will. I got a nice little three-leg parlay, 3-bet parlay for everybody today. Hopefully we can end the All-Star week off or beginning of All-Star week off on the right note here. So I have Cardinals over 4.5 runs, Brewers over 4.5 runs, and Mets outright. I know the Mets money line is like minus 230, but when you pair it with the 2 overs, you're getting this at plus 400. So nice little 3-pick parlay, plus 400. Cardinals, Brewers, 2 of our favorite offenses. And yeah, I mean, the Reds was just juiced too much. I like the Reds too, but they were juiced too much at 4.5. So I went with the Mets money line instead for my 3-pick parlay. Will, any final thoughts before we get out of here?
Negative, my brother. So glad to come on and do this pod with you. I had a blast today. Looks like the internet went off without a hitch.
Without a hitch, no mutes. Like, is this what now? The expectation is so high now.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Oh, you should have like. You should have threw the mute in like 1 or 2 mutes just to like keep the expectations down. Now the expectations are really high. So that's going to wrap it up here for the morning grind. We'll be back next Friday. So the 19th or 18th on Thursday night on the 18th. We'll be back. Will and I will be back breaking down Friday's MLB slate. Enjoy the All-Star break. Enjoy it. Don't go out there and try to find other stuff. Refresh the batteries and come back strong on Friday next week. Enjoy the time off. We hope you have a great weekend. Back next Friday. Have a good one. We'll see you then.